Hey there, welcome to another DMC tutorial where today we're diving back into Adobe Photoshop. Last time we covered the overall basics, so today I'm going to show you a specific tool. And since you already clicked on this video's thumbnail, you know I'm talking about gradients. Gradients are, in my humble opinion, the #1 way to boost the quality of a graphic with pretty much little to no effort. Some people say work smarter, not harder. I say let Photoshop do all the work for you. Alright, so once you open up the program, we're going to hit File and then New. Choose some dimensions. I'll be using 1920 by 1080, but that's just because my boss said so. Then go ahead and hit Create. So, what is a gradient? It's when colors gradually transition into each other on a spectrum, and when done correctly, it can be an extremely pleasant effect. Whenever I make something with a background, I pretty much always apply a gradient. So, first things first, select the gradient tool from the toolbar, or just hit G on the keyboard, and then create a new layer in your layer panel. You can technically apply gradients to the automatic background layer, but it's better to have a safety net just in case, you know? Make sure that the new layer is selected, name it something like gradient, and then head up here and click on the gradient looking bar. This is how we set the colors. There's a lot of presets in the program, but for now, click on the red and green one. Just trust me. You'll notice that there are 4 little boxes that can be slid around on the colored bar. The ones on top are the color's opacity, and the ones in the bottom are the actual hue. To change the color, just click on the box and then on the bigger box that appears below. Select a color from the panel that opens. There's pretty much infinite possibilities here. Then hit OK. Do the exact same process on the other side. If you want to change the rate at which the color transitions, you can move the little keyframe in between the ends of the gradient to make the change more subtle or rapid. You can even add more boxes by just clicking on the space below the bar. This color can be changed the exact same way as the others. But honestly, I almost always just use 2. The third one just scares me. And don't even get me started on 4. When you're done messing around, just hit OK. Now select the type of gradient that you want to apply. There's the linear one, a straight line, the radial one, a big circle, and then some funny looking ones you can experiment with if you're feeling adventurous. To apply a linear gradient, select the linear one and then click and drag from one end of your project to the other, then release. If you hold down Shift, it will keep you in a straight line, but that's not required. Okay, if you don't like how it turns out, you can just apply another gradient on top of your last one, like this, or this. To try the radial gradient, click on the radial icon and then drag from the center to the outsides. The color on the left of the gradient bar will be the middle and will transition into the color on the right. You pretty much always want the darker color to be on the outside of your radial gradient. It just looks better. And, personally speaking, gradients look better when the 2 colors work well together. Different shades of one color or neutral tones typically get the best results. Hot pink and green look like a kindergartner discovering MS Paint. If you want a really simple background but need something better than just white, try a radial gradient from white to light gray. So go back up to the gradient bar, then select white as one end and off-white as the other. Hit OK and then apply the gradient. To compare, make the gradient layer invisible by clicking its eye symbol in the layer panel. See, doesn't this just look cooler? I think it does, and it works for dark gray to black as well. One last thing before I let you go. These gradients are cool backgrounds by themselves, but they could use a touch of pizzazz. I always like to add a texture to my backgrounds for that extra little flourish. So I just Google the word texture and it comes up with some options in Google Images. Then I find one that looks okay and drag it directly onto my project. Then resize the image to fit the screen with the Move tool, and hit Enter. Then, making sure that the correct layer is selected, you can change the layer style to something like Overlay or Soft Light, then adjust the opacity as needed to make it look nice. You can even go back and change the gradient to make it darker or a different color as long as you have the gradient layer selected and are using the gradient tool. So yeah, that's how to use the gradient tool in Photoshop to make backgrounds for your graphics. It's not very hard and it can vastly improve the quality of your projects with just a few easy steps. Good luck!